Hello, hockey fans, and welcome to NHL Draft Pros.
Shoots, he scores!
In this video, we're going to do a scouting report on Brady Martin. You're not going to want to miss these highlights because he is a bulldozer on the ice. He just flattens people. So stick around and let's see what makes him one of the top prospects for the 2025 NHL Draft class. And if you want to see some scouting reports on some of the other prospects, head over to NHL Draft Pros on YouTube or hit the icon below and that'll bring you to the homepage. And if you're a hockey fan, please help the channel grow by hitting that subscribe and like button. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks. All right, Brady Martin. He played for the Soo Greyhounds. He's 6 feet, 178 pounds, and he's a right shot centerman. In terms of draft rankings, NHL Central Scouting has him at number 11 for North American skaters, McKeen's at 12, TSM Bob McKenzie 13, and Elite Prospects at 18. But I think that'll bump up next rankings for sure. And statistically, he had 72 points in 57 games in the OHL. That is some pretty impressive numbers for a draft year player. And as always, we're going to check out his skating, his shooting, his passing, his puck control, his compete level, and what he needs to improve upon. And the first thing is his skating. And yeah, Brady Martin is a decent skater. I wouldn't necessarily say that he has that separation speed, but once he gets motoring, he can definitely fly around the ice. He has a little bit of a hunched over posture when he skates. So, I mean, little things that can kind of get fixed up. But for the most part, he's got a nice stride and he moves pretty well when he's in motion, I guess you could say. And he's got some decent, stops and starts, acceleration, explosiveness. Watch right here. Watch this. Boom. Just blows by that guy. That's a nice little play right there. So, yeah, you can see that he's got those, quick or fast twitch muscles, I guess you could say, like boom, look at that. That's a nice turning on a dime, as they say. So yeah, I'd say that a little bit of work to get a little bit faster, especially the type of game that he plays. And you'll see in a minute that he just likes to fly around and hammer people. So if he can develop a little bit more strength in his legs, core strength, I guess you could say, a little bit quickness, a little bit more quickness, like it's not terrible. It's just average, I guess you could say. So a little bit of work in the skating department, but for the most part, he's a pretty good skater. All right, the shooting. Yeah, Brady Martin can rip a puck. Watch this. Ah, boom. Woo! Upstairs where they keep the peanut butter, as they say. Yeah, he absolutely throttled that bottle. Watch it on the close-up here. You're going to see him just absolutely boom. So, yeah, Brady Martin can shoot a puck. He had 30-some goals, like I said earlier with the stats part, and definitely gets it off quick. He finds those open lanes, those open shooting lanes, and can wire a puck. Look at that. Look at that. Even in slow motion, it looked like it was pretty fast, eh? So, yeah, he can shoot a puck. And that's a nice thing when you have a player who's a, hardworking, good compete, good pace kind of player, and he can put pucks in the net. Yeah, that's a nice combo. And when you see a player who can shoot pucks with authority and beat goalies one-on-one. And now all these clips here, you're going to see that he's beating goalies one-on-one. And that's an impressive feat, especially when, the goalies have a wide open view of the shot coming and they can't stop it. So when you have that power and that accuracy, he tends to go low. Low glove side is kind of his trademark spot for shooting. But yeah, Brady Martin can wire pucks, so that's a bonus when it comes to him. All right, the next thing is his passing. I'd say that it's decent. There's glimpses of really good passing, as in this clip right here, how he kind of slowed the play down to find that open lane. But for the most part, I find that sometimes he kind of rushes plays, and then he has a lot of giveaways. And we're going to talk about that in the section for what he needs to improve upon. But there are times when, see, like right there, he just drew the player towards him and then dished it off. That's a nice little pass right there. So, yeah, it's just he just needs to slow the play down a little bit more patience with the puck, I guess you could say, because sometimes he's forcing plays and he's giving it away. But when he does slow the play down and he does, keep an eye out, like that's a nice little play right there too. He has some nice tendencies, I guess you could say, in terms of the passing and the playmaking. So yeah, not bad, not great. All right, puck control. Decent hands. He's more of a north-south kind of player, but when he does and uses the skating to kind of get around players, I guess you could say, and his physicality. He'll shield the puck, protect the puck, but right there he displays some nice little mitts right there, nice little right through the stick there. Nothing fancy, I guess you could say. He's kind of like a worker, a blue collar kind of player. He works hard, finds open seams, and then uses his hands at times to get around players. But I wouldn't call him like a dangler. Doesn't have that toe drag kind of getting around players fancy. He's everything that he does is hard work. That physicality, the like I said, blue collar mentality, I guess you could say. But watch this one right here, and that's again Zane Parekh of the Saginaw Spirit. So a little dipsy doodle right here. Look at this through the legs. A little fancy on that one. Beautiful. All right, the last thing or the next thing that we're going to talk about is compete. And Brady Martin is an absolute beast on the ice. When you're on the ice, boom, you better keep your head up because he is going to take runs at you. He does not just hit to rub you out. He hits to put you through the boards, like literally every time. So now this goal here is because he laid out that defenseman in the corner there, and he was wide open by himself because you can see the defense is just getting up right now. So yeah, you're going to see some other clips of him. So now this is him, the dog, that dog in him where he just, works hard. He's not giving up. Look at this, fighting checks, taking checks. And then he wins the battle, comes out with the puck. Like, come on. That's just great. Here, the hitting. Now, this is against Radomurka. And for those of you who know Radomurka, he's 6'6" and like 200 plus pounds. He just laid him out. This is at the U18s. Now, look at that. Boom. This is what Brady Martin brings to the table. He's just crushing bodies. Watch this one. This is a bad one. The poor Slovak kid got hurt, but he did come back. The kid came back and played. But watch this. You better keep your head up. Don't admire passes when Brady Martin's on the ice because he is going to find you, track you down, and lay you out. So, yeah, we'll put one more. Why not? Let's just keep on putting the hit parade here, as they say, right? Look at this one. This is in the playoffs, and he just, boom, took him right out. Love it. So, yeah, Brady Martin, he's a hitter for sure. All right, now things that he needs to improve upon. The one thing, like I said, sometimes he's puck watching. So here he's kind of lost. He's kind of looking around. Too late, they score. So sometimes positionally, he's got to work on that. And here's the same thing. You're going to see he's kind of skating around, floating around, following the puck, puck watching. A little bit too slow on that one, and then they score. The other thing is giveaways. Like I said, I mentioned before, trying a little too much. Here you're going to see 1-on-4. And just gets stripped, and then he tries to dish it off, and he gets picked off again. So needs to work on, slowing the play down, I guess, sometimes, or the simple play. Same thing here. He's going to try a 1-on-1, some fanciness, and Buddy says, no, not happening. So that's it for Brady Martin. Yeah, you know what? Strengths, like I said, that physicality, the hitting. He's just a machine on the ice. He absolutely just does not stop when he's on the ice. And when you're on the ice, like as an opposing player, you better keep your head up. And then the compete and pace, that kind of falls in line with the physicality and the hitting. He's always moving around. He's hunting pucks down. He's a dog on the puck, on the bone. He does not give up on that puck for sure. So you gotta love to see that. And then shooting, got a great shot, can put the puck in the net. So yeah, you like to see that. What he needs to work on, the offensive upside, is it there? I'm not sure. Some of the players in this draft have a little bit more offensive upside, a little bit higher ceiling. And so, yeah, you know what? I consider him a middle six type player, but you're getting a great middle six player for sure. Giveaways, forcing plays, trying a little too much. Yeah, that can be a problem at times with him. I watched him in the playoffs there against the Spits, and there's a few giveaways, we'll say that. And then playmaking, slowing the play down, kind of using your teammates on the ice. But he does show glimpses of it. He does, when he does slow the play down, he's looking really good. In terms of rankings, I got him 10 to 15 range. I know a lot of online mocks have him inside the 10. I don't see it yet. You know what I mean? I mean, if you want a middle six hardworking player who's got some physical to his game, yeah, sure, pick him up there. But in terms of skill set, I think there's some other players that probably should go ahead of him. So, yeah, that's it for Brady Martin. And like I said, help me gain some followers by hitting that subscribe and like button. I'd really appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. Cheers.